My dad used to say to me very often, "Can't never did anything." I would hear that every single time I would say, "Dad, but I can't." And before I could even finish the "I can't," Dad was saying, "Can't never did anything." It took me a while to learn that, but Dad was right. So let's talk about the attitudes of can't do and can do. Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business coach, author of 5 food truck vending books, including Food Truck 101 and Food Truck 201. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business. Today's podcast is sponsored by Table Needs. And if you're looking for a game changer for your food truck business, look no further than Table Needs. It is the ultimate package, a killer point of sale system, QR code menu ordering, KDS, and automated sales tax. Plus, they offer business services like marketing and bookkeeping. They're not only just another vendor, they're a business partner. Check them out at tableneeds.com or find them on Facebook. Before we get started, let's define what a can-do attitude really is. It's more than just a positive outlook. It's a firm belief in your ability to overcome challenges, your ability to adapt when things go wrong, and your ability to achieve your own goals. It's about being confident, it's about being resilient, and it's about having a willingness to learn from setbacks, rather than doing the easy thing and just saying, "I quit." Why is a can-do attitude so important in a food truck business? It's going to make the difference between giving up or pushing forward after a setback. It's going to turn obstacles into opportunities, and it transforms your dream into a reality, and a profitable reality. During the Great Resignation, one of my college friends sent me a message. He was worried about his family and, more importantly, his finances. And like most people during that shutdown, the aftermath left him on the brink of financial disaster, not only for his restaurant, but for his family as well. He had no money to fall back on and literally was putting off one set of bills so he could pay another set that was farther behind. He was juggling too many payments, and when his cash flow stopped because of the shutdown, he was facing repossession and possibly a foreclosure on his house and losing his business. And if anyone deserved to say, "I can't," it was him, because he was facing so many different challenges. I visited his restaurant. I told him, "Hey, I can help you out. Let me come see your restaurant." So I went to his restaurant and I saw firsthand what those restrictions and the shutdown had done to him. He was forced to lose over 50% of his seating. And he had never been a part of the third-party delivery system ever because he didn't feel like he needed it. And he never really marketed because he didn't have to. His restaurant was popular and people knew it was there. When the COVID shutdowns happened, things changed. And he did not change with it. And that's where I heard the echo of my dad's voice. Can't never did anything. Every single one of my recommendations to my college buddy was met with, "I can't," and then followed with some kind of logical excuse. But not a one of those excuses was valid. But to my college buddy, those excuses were real and they were as certain as death and taxes. He could not survive. After he told me I can't for the 10th time, I just said, "But what if you could?" His eyes softened just a little bit and he said, "Well, I might make it if I could." And I said, "Well, you're going to make it then, because here's what you're going to do to make it." And then I gave him a list of 3 things. And as I gave him the list, I said, "No excuses, no I can'ts. You will do these 3 things. Otherwise, you'll have wasted my time coming to your restaurant." First, we had to concentrate on him. We had to change his mental picture. In his mind, the restaurant was already a failure. He had worked really, really hard. And because of something the government had done, he was going to fail. And he felt like all the policies and all of the related COVID restrictions were directed exactly at him. And I had to remind him to focus on what he could control, which it ain't the government. You can control how you react to whatever policies they put in place. But we can't control the government when it does give those policies that make no sense. And there's no reason to waste our energy on whining about, "Well, the government did this, government did that." His restaurant was not a failure. It would only be a failure when he gave up and turned that lock the last time. Until then, it had a fighting chance at life. Every day is one more step on the path either to success or the path to failure. And the best thing about it is you get to choose which path you're on. Next thing we came up with was a marketing plan that he could afford. And trust me, he could not afford very much. It was heavy on the free stuff like social media. It was heavy on in-kind trades. And that's where you trade food for marketing, whether it be a radio ad, a print ad, something. You're trading what you have that is of value to the other business. All businesses at that time were hurting. So trading for food at least gave the other business a little bit of work to do. So it helped both businesses to at least they're able to do something for each other. Everyone that traded merchandise or services was mentioned on his restaurant social media. And he started creating a little community of local small businesses that were helping out each other. You can either be in a boat that's sinking or you can figure out a way to plug that leak and survive. The last piece of the puzzle that I gave him was daily action. No more sitting around idle, whining about the sky's getting ready to fall in on us and we're going to have to close because government this and government that. The daily to-do list included, he had to say to himself every single day, multiple times throughout the day, my restaurant's success is within my control. And he had to say it with conviction, and he had to say it as if he meant it. My restaurant's success is within my control. My food truck's success is within my control. Say that to yourself, and you mean it. You'll eventually start to believe it, and you'll start to live it. But if you start with the excuses of, well, this location's not very good, and all the people don't ever want to come out, well, yeah, you're going to fail. Location's bad? You made a bad choice. Get over it. Find somewhere else to set up. Or figure out how to make that location awesome by doing social media, by getting out in marketing, by letting people know you exist. Your food truck is not a people magnet. I can promise you, it is not. You can set up on the absolute busiest street in your town, and people are still going to drive right on by you. Set up on a street that has 20,000 cars passing by in 24 hours, and I guarantee you that you might get 10 cars, 20 cars. You cannot depend upon impulse shopping. That's what people do when they say, I'm buying a food truck, and I'm going to open up the window, and I'm going to have long lines. Doesn't happen that way. Your truck is not a people magnet. A restaurant, no matter how popular it is not a people magnet. They are just places to go get food. And you got to remind people constantly you exist. You have to become a part of their daily routine, a part of their habit. And that's when you start to grow and increase your sales because people depend upon you to feed them. They're counting on eating with you 1 or 2 times a week. But if you're inconsistent with your hours and if you have food or not, guess what? They will find somebody that is consistent with their hours and having food at the time that they want to be fed. So that daily action, besides repeating that mantra of my restaurant success is within my control, I told him to do marketing every single day, to do social media every single day, and do them multiple times a day. You might feel like you're talking to no one, and that's okay. Because eventually someone is going to see something that you have posted and go, ooh, that's cute. That's cool. I think I will share that. And then they share it to people you don't already know. You got to network with other people that can impact the restaurant. And what I mean by that is every single person you come in contact with has friends, has family. Tell them about your restaurant. If they come into your restaurant or come into your food truck, you're going to say, hey, come back tomorrow, bring your friends, bring your family. Part of my parting phrase with every single person that comes to our food truck is, thank you very much. You have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. And some of them actually do come back tomorrow. We have one lady that has eaten with us every single day we've been open since we opened. Every single day. And she generally spends around $25 to $30 every single day. There are people that park right next to us, come over and have breakfast, come over and have lunch. Then the next day they come over with their friends. That's an awesome feeling. You have to network and you have to encourage people. Bring your friends, stop by tomorrow. Because if you don't encourage them, they'll go somewhere else. And it's not because they don't like you. It's because you've given them no reason to come back. Your food can be awesome. The service can be awesome. But it takes more than that. It takes that call to action. Come back and see me tomorrow. I have a very Southern accent, in case you can't tell. That Southern accent people like to make fun of because I live in Florida. There's people from all over the country that come here and live. And there's all kinds of different accents around me. They're all different variations of some type of English, but they're all different accents from around the country. We have New York accents. We have Wisconsin accents. We have the deep Canadian accents. And you know what? They love my Southern drawl. They just think it's cute when I say, y'all come back and see us. And I don't say that to be funny. I don't say that to be odd. I just say it because that's how I talk. But it reminds people that I want to see you tomorrow. I love seeing you. We're going to make it fun for you tomorrow. Come back. So if you're an I can't kind of person, sometimes people are not even sure if they are or if they're not. So here's what you need to make sure that you never become a member of the I can't club. You want to set clear and achievable goals. Have a roadmap for your life and break down those goals into smaller, manageable steps. Because you know what that does? When you achieve one of those steps, you get a little bit more confident. You feel a little bit more motivated because you did something. Confidence makes it harder for you to say, I can't, because you know in your heart you really can. Failure is not a person, and certainly it is not you. A failed activity is just a stepping stone to success if you learn something. It's how you respond to those little failures, those little roadblocks, those little setbacks that matters. You learn, you adapt, and you gotta keep moving. Surround yourself with positivity. Your environment, your friends, your coworkers, and employees, they all play a significant role in shaping what? Your attitude. Spend most of your time with supportive and optimistic people. Work on weeding out the negative folks. Sometimes your quote-unquote friends can be the biggest anchor preventing you from moving forward. Some people like bringing down other people to their level because those people don't aspire to be anything beyond what they currently are. And yeah, it's tough to not be a friend with people anymore because you're used to them. But sometimes they're your biggest anchor. They're the ones keeping you from achieving any kind of real success. Practice gratitude. Focusing on what you have to be thankful for will shift your perspective and is going to help you maintain a positive outlook, even when you face those challenging times. Now, if you're saying to yourself, Bill, I have nothing to be grateful for, well, I just want you to think about your life. You woke up today. There's a whole bunch of people that went to sleep last night that planned on listening to me today, and they can't. But you can. You likely have a warm bed to sleep in tonight. You probably had a really good meal this morning or this afternoon before you listened to this podcast. You have somebody that loves you, and you probably have somebody that you love. You have access to being whatever you want to be if you're willing to put in the work. That's what being a part of our country does. You're not stuck being what you are today. You can be whatever you want to be. There's a whole bunch of people in the world that have no clue where their next meal is coming from. There's a whole bunch of people in the world that are going to be sleeping in the dirt tonight. You have lots to be grateful for. Entrepreneur, owner, success, those are all in your future, but you got to start working on it today. Having a can-do attitude isn't about just believing in yourself. It's about taking action, and it is most importantly about never giving up. It is never giving up on your food truck dream and always striving to be the best version of yourself no matter what you face. That's how you become a can-do person. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I am telling you, I know you can. Just get out there and do it. Oh, I forgot to tell you what happened to my college buddy. He followed my advice. He spent a little teeny tiny bit of money on social media and used the tiny bump in sales to spend money on a direct mail piece. Every restaurant in his town was whining about how bad everything was and how they had to close this and close that and they're not busy and the government wah, wah, wah. And he decided to just invite people to come eat in his restaurant. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to say, hey, come on down. I got food for you. And if they preferred to stay at home because they were afraid of COVID, he would deliver it to them. Now, he was not a part of the third-party delivery system ever. And he couldn't afford to give them that 30% they were asking for. So he worked in the restaurant all by himself, and his wife drove delivery. Just the two of them. And then as sales increased, they brought back one employee. And then later they brought back a second employee and a third employee. And in the next 12 months, they took the restaurant from being on the brink of closing to paying everything that was past due. And most importantly, they were able to stop the foreclosure on their home and have a safe place to sleep. Today, 3 years later, they are seeking land to build their second restaurant. And it's all because they decided in their mind, I can do this. Thank you so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to helping you with your food truck. And again, thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow, because I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.